Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Oops, We Binged It Again, the podcast where streaming meets cross generational chaos. I'm your Gen X host, Mukta, joined by my Gen Z counterpart and my daughter, Nandini. Together, we will share with you honest, spoiler free takes from the many, many series and movies we have binged, making sure you will spend less time scrolling and a lot of time streaming.
And also, we decided to keep our episodes short and sweet so that you get a better review of a series compared to perhaps what you would read online or be led by the usual viewer ratings. Oh, and like my mum said, you will hear from two different generations who sometimes agree, and more often than not, I will say agree to disagree. But whether you're Gen X, Gen Z, or somewhere in between, we'll find your next binge for you.
So let me ask you a mortal question. Have you ever spent hours scrolling Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount, Prime, every streaming app that ever existed, and still ended up watching something so you'd wish you'd taken a nap instead?
Oh my God, absolutely. Or worse, do what we do every day. We get our food ready and we get so tired of scrolling that we resort to watching Modern Family for what, the 18th time?
Literally, we can write an exam on Modern Family or Friends, actually.
Actually, I think we can write the next season for the two of the series. And that's exactly why we decided to start a podcast for people who perhaps have been struggling like us.
So, whether you're craving thrillers, rom coms, laugh out loud comedies, or something to unwind with after a crazy day, we've got you covered. We will find hidden gems for you so that you do not have to go on a long and tiring treasure hunt. And speaking of hidden gems, let's dive right into our first pick Netflix's Riviera Season 1, a thriller we are sure is bound to surprise you with each episode. But wait, before we dive any deeper, Nandini, if you had to describe Riviera Season 1 in just one phrase, what would that be?
Ooh, that's an interesting challenge. I'd probably go with something like family bonds and fractured secrets. What do you think?
Mine's a little boring actually listening to you now. I was leaning more towards luxury meeting deception.
It's not boring, actually. We will unpack this as we go, and I feel like we're agreeing for once. We'll find out later, but I do feel like we're agreeing.
All right, so let's dive into the Riviera Season 1, a glamorous thriller that's set against the beautiful backdrop of Monaco and the French Riviera. Now, the story centers around Georgina Cleos, an American art curator living a dream life, which is married to a billionaire Constant Cleos. Her world appears to be perfect from the outside. You have grand villas, you have yachts, you have parties, you have priceless art. But that picture perfect life shatters dramatically when Constantine suddenly dies in a yacht explosion, leaving Georgina heartbroken, of course confused, and full of questions. Georgina quickly discovers her husband's life was not as straightforward as it appeared. Hidden behind the extravagant parties and the glittering lifestyle were layers of deception, corruption, and secrets she had never imagined existed. And from that moment on, listeners, Georgina's life becomes a whirlwind of mystery and danger. Every episode introduces new twists, slowly unraveling Constantine's past. Now, this Georgina, she moves from a grieving wife to a relentless investigator, determined to uncover the truth. She begins to question everything and everyone around her, and the tension never lets up. Each revelation pulls her deeper into a dangerous web of lies. And me, listeners, as someone who appreciates stories with depth, I think I found Georgina's emotional journey incredibly compelling. We have watched her evolve from shock and vulnerability into someone tough, resilient, and determined, and that was really captivating.
I really like that perspective and absolutely agree. And I just want to go back to something that you mentioned about the episodes and about every episode introducing new twists. I think the thing that grabbed me right away with this series was how quickly it gets you hooked. You know those thrillers where you feel like you can predict what's next? This is definitely not one of those. Every episode, listeners, brought something new, something unexpected. And honestly, Mum, our attempts at playing detective were completely useless. Would come up with all of these theories and thinking about who might be the perpetrator, and the show just kept proving us wrong. It made every reveal that much more satisfying and surprising, and I think that unpredictability personally really worked for me. The only thing is, I'd complain about 10 episodes, each being 50 minutes long. I mean, come on, that's insanely long. But I've got to say, even though there were multiple subplots, you have your family tensions, there are business secrets, there are questionable friendships, they always somehow tied back to the main mystery. So while I think the series could have been slightly shorter, I don't think it felt dragged out. There was always something that was exciting waiting in the next episode. There was something new to uncover. And that's what kept me on the edge and pretty invested throughout.
Interesting you speak of excitement, Nandini. So, for our listeners, let's talk about how beautifully the series captures the atmosphere of Monaco. Visually, it's stunning.
Ah, yes.
You have scenes set on yachts, you have grand parties and mansions that are filled with priceless artwork, as I had said before, creating this luxurious surface that contrasts sharply with the darkness it hides underneath. That combination makes it feel so intense, so suspenseful. And let's not forget the characters. They're not your usual typical drama filled rich family stereotypes. Each family member brings complexity, and then there are secrets that add tension at every turn. So for me, the series really nailed portraying complex family dynamics realistically. Now, this Cleo's family is fractured by mistrust, by resentment. Yet, Nandini, I'm sure you'd agree, they were still bound by a strong loyalty and a shared history.
So, family bonds and fractured secrets.
There you go. The tension between them, I think, especially with Georgina, felt genuine and thought provoking. It raises real questions about trust, identity, power, family loyalty. I think there are themes that deeply resonate and they are beyond the plot itself.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And really interesting themes that you've pointed out there. I just want to talk about a few of them. For example, trust. If you think about it, after Constantine's death, Georgina, she does not know who she can rely on anymore. She's surrounded by these wealthy friends, these employees, these in-laws, but they all seem to be having their own agendas, and she needs to work out who in this family she can actually trust. And I think the question of trust, interestingly, extends to institutions as well, who may not be what they seem.
And then there is secrecy. So now when you talk about themes, I think this one was a real central theme to the plot. Secrecy laid at the heart of Riviera. Almost every character harbors a secret. There are secret lovers, there are secret crimes, there are secret pasts. I mean, look at this. Constantine himself left behind a trail of lies, deceit, criminality that Georgina was then left to unravel.
Yeah.
Each secret that was exposed forced Georgina to question what she thought she knew about her husband and friends. And the theme of secrecy then ties extremely closely with trust. So, as secrets emerge, relationships have either shattered or realigned throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, listeners, when you watch it, you will get a sense that in this elite circle, nothing is as it appears on the surface. I think which is what keeps the suspense extremely high throughout the season.
Yeah, and because you mentioned Georgina, can we just take a second and talk about her character arc? Because honestly, wow. She literally starts off as so controlled, poised, and I think almost too perfect. But as secrets start to emerge, she becomes stronger, more assertive, and even ruthless when needed. And honestly, one of my favorite moments was towards the end, that really powerful scene with her in the red dress, when she finally decides she's had enough. The way the show paired that scene with the song That's My Girl was literally perfect. It really captures her journey from passive acceptance to this bold empowerment. And I have to mention, visually, the show is an absolute treat. The cinematography is honestly stunning, and the fashion, oh my god. As a woman, I mean, every outfit choice was spot on. Bold colors, sleek designs that added meaning and impact to every single scene. And I think that visual richness is exactly why my mum described it as luxury meets deception. It truly does have that glamorous appeal, I think, that keeps you glued, just wanting to see more.
I think, Nandi, when you say Georgina's role was too perfect, I still believe that she started as a stoic. And I think a little of what she did throughout the series, for me, it was an overkill. But anyway, that's where we disagree. And beyond Georgina, there are few more I would like to call out for their brilliant acting and strong stage presence, like Irina. How can we forget her?
Yeah.
Constantine's first wife. And then the three kids, Adriana, Adam, and Christos. Now, these kids are the ones you want to hug and hate at the same time.
Hug is not the word I would use. Honestly, I feel like that's my mom's motherly instinct, because guys, I think you'll hate some of the characters more than the rest, but that's all I'll say. By the end of the finale, I think Georgina and the rest of these characters that you mentioned, they have transformed profoundly through this ordeal, and that stage is set for further revelations in the next season. Listeners, you would be left with a satisfying blend of answers, but also lingering mysteries, which I think is a payoff for the emotional investment in Georgina's journey, but also a promise that the dangerous, absolutely dark world of Riviera still has many secrets left to explore.
All right, as we wrap up now, listeners, let's talk about who the series is really for. So, if you are someone who loves peeling back the layers of a good mystery one by one and enjoys some realistic, relatable family drama, even though most of us probably don't have billion-dollar yachts, then Riviera Season 1 is the one for you.
Yeah, I think it's great for those nights when you're craving some stylish drama, but you also need a healthy dose of thrill and surprise. But fair warning, like I said, it's not exactly binge friendly in one sitting. I think we binge watched it, but we were quite drained by the end.
Exactly. So, listeners, spread this one out. Let each episode sink in. Now, in terms of rating, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would comfortably give it a solid 7.
Ah, perfect. I mean, I think mine would be a 6, perhaps one less mark for the length of the episodes. I think the series is good enough to keep you hooked, perhaps not perfect enough to have you skip your weekend plans.
I see what you mean. So, I'd say watch it, enjoy it, but take your time. And listeners, let us know what you thought about the plot, your views, what you agreed or disagreed with. And let us know about your rating. Would you give it a 7 or a 6? We will eagerly wait for your comments.
So, if you enjoyed diving into this thrilling journey with us, please do not forget to tune in for our next episode where we bring you the in and out, left and right, up and down of the next what's the word for a comedy thriller? Thrillcom? Do you know the word?
I can come up with a few actually, and don't say they're cringy. Chuckle thrill, giggle
Oh,
spence.
please. Okay, I think they got it. I think it's a currently a Netflix favorite, but we have different views. That's all we'll say for now.
So until then, keep watching, stay curious, and we will meet you right back here for another round of thrill and mystery.
Or a giggle spence.